Want to 10x your growth? Discover how only 3 growth hacks in 10 days can change everything. Welcome to the 10-Day Growth Hacking Challenge with your host, Nader Sabri. Today, we're here with Ankur from PursueIT, a very interesting platform that matches people that have an interest in hobbies and other kinds of hobbies and interests and want to get matched up with the right type of instructors or partners that provide these type of services. The interesting thing about what PursueIT does is that they solve a really important problem by not just matching the right type of interest to the right type of customer, but help the instructors and the experts who run these types of courses or whatever it is that they run, who are normally not really good at running their own businesses, sort out all their logistics, everything from payment collection, marketing, and being able to manage their schedules all in one place. Prior to the pandemic, they had done a great job in putting this together. When the pandemic came in, they kicked it up and were able to tap into the return to physical activities and be able to place people in really exciting places. I'm not going to take the wind away here from Ankur. I'm going to pass it over for him to tell us a little bit more about PursueIT himself, and then we'll go a bit deeper into the growth problem and challenges. Before we move on, for those tuning in, this is based on the growth thinking methodology. If you want to do what we're doing here on the challenge, this is your tool. Let's get started. Welcome aboard, Ankur. And first off, though, I got to congratulate you. You are sponsored by one of the top accelerators, and you're part of our sponsorship program. So congratulations on that front. It is a pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you so much, Nader. Thank you. It's a pleasure, and thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this growth challenge. And PursueIT has been an amazing journey, an interesting journey for me so far. And I think you've put it rightly in terms of what we are trying to do and the problem that we are trying to solve. I mean, generally, the way I kind of try to tell people about PursueIT is when I ask a question and say, okay, have you recently tried to book a hobby class? Because when I was doing this for my son, it took me 4 weeks to find a suitable guitar instructor.
Wow.
Right. So I was spending a lot of time going and talking to people, asking my friends, getting information on WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups. And what normally happens is, when the information is being distributed via groups, WhatsApp or Facebook groups, it's either incomplete or unverified. So I had to do a lot of work myself, calling individual people, getting just the basic of information is including where you are based, what are the timings available, what's the pricing, something that we should not really work very hard to find, rather than focus on, the kind of thing that we want to do, right? So kind of focus on the value of it rather than spending time just arranging logistics. And hence PursueIT was born. So our idea is really, as you put it very nicely, to kind of connect people to really meaningful activities, to what they want to do outside their office and schools. So we are a platform which takes care of this for kids and adults both.
Fantastic. And just for those who are tuning in, can you give us some examples of some of these hobbies? I know that you have some really interesting stuff, but if you can cover some of the basics as a reminder, and those for tuning in, you can get more information, of course, below in the link. But if you can just tell us some of the basic stuff you cover, just for everyone to understand some of the more interesting things you wouldn't think about when you cover, because you cover some stuff that you'd never think about, right? So it would be really good to just give some background to that.
Correct. So we have everything. So if you start off with the regular stuff that people do, so we have sports, we have music, we have dance, we have art and craft and cooking. But swimming, but let's say, for example, when you look at swimming, you can, of course, learn swimming at the pool. But we have options where you can actually learn to swim at the sea, which is different, right? So a normal swimmer can actually go and swim in the sea, but swimming the sea, navigating seawater is kind of a different skill in itself. So we have those kind of programs. We bring people things which are, so there are two kind of offerings that we have if you broadly classify. One is, what you want, right? So I may know that, okay, I want to do something related to technology, and I go and find that specific course. But sometimes there are so many new trends, so many new things in the market which people want to know, right? So I may want to go and learn, for example, kite surfing. I may want to do, windsurfing. I may want to do gardening, or I may want to do a beauty course, just to kind of, for myself, for personal, not as a professional only, but just as an amateur for my own self, for my own kind of personal growth. So we offer all those kind of options. So the idea is to bring all possible options for customers in one platform, so that it makes it easier for them to match what they want to do with the kind of activity, so that people focus on actually, going and working on that particular aspect rather than just the logistics of it.
Very interesting. Cool. So they solve the problem of matching up with the interesting hobbies normally people would want to go to, even children. I think a large part are obviously children or parents that want to get their kids active into activities like guitar, like you said, and swimming, and then some things that are unique. One of the ones that you mentioned I really like was cooking, because you never kind of think about that. You kind of see it sometimes here and there, but finding like a good quality cooking course, especially an affordable one, can be a little bit challenging. I know you've got some really interesting ones listed in there. So that's really cool. So moving forward, tell us a little bit more about your growth challenges, and then we're going to jump into the 3 growth hacks that we plan to pull off in the next 10 days.
Sure, absolutely. So I think when we look at the growth challenges, so we have been working in the last, let's say, throughout this year, kind of trying to reach to our target audience. So we have kind of developed a reasonable understanding of who our target customers are and what are the problems, going into the second and the third layer of the problem to really try to identify, how best we can serve our customers. And we've kind of made a reasonable progress there. Now it's really, for us, it's really about kind of once now that we have identified a customer segment and how we can kind of, make their life easier, we want to now go and take this out to our target audience to kind of help them find these services that are available through the platform and increase our reach and our kind of growth as we progress.
Okay, so basically, I mean, recapping it, so it's customer acquisition and then customer retention are basically the 2 main categories of growth problems here, right? Acquisition of new customers and bringing them in, and then retention of expanding on existing kind of customers, both in existing spend and using them as well, or utilizing them, I mean, to be able to tap into new customers, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome. Beautiful. Common problems that most businesses that we work with on this challenge have. So no surprises there, right? But different context to all of them. All right. So what are your plans for the next 10 days when it comes to the 3 growth hacks?
Right. So I think the 3 growth hacks that we have been kind of looking at to focus on in the next 10 days are related to, one of the key things, I mean, I see in the domain that we are in is really the community. It helps people a lot to kind of, find the right option and develop the right confidence to do. So what we want to do is with customers, we want to actually focus on a referral program, okay, where, customers can kind of, help us kind of reach out to similar customers looking for similar services. The second part is, of course, when we look at our partners themselves, they themselves have a huge network, and we have various types of partners. Some of them who are actually offering services on the platform. Some of them are also partners who actually need the services that we offer. So it's really about sort of leveraging those channels to reach out to a wider audience. So a partner kind of a referral program. And the third aspect that we've been looking at is the customer acquisition strategies, kind of mapping our categories and doing SEO placement.
Yeah, very cool. The last one is going to be a very interesting one, but yeah, just to kind of recap. So what we're looking at is basically we're going to do kind of 2 retention oriented growth hacks and 1 acquisition growth hack. And the retention ones are divided into 2, which is basically looking into direct customers and then partners, because partners play a really important role in the business model of Pursuit. And do you want to just tell us a little bit more what partners are and what they mean, just so for those tuning in, they understand what that looks like?
So first of all, our first set of partners are the companies who are actually offering the services today. So, they are the ones who we list on our platform with the kind of services that they offer. And we bring them customers. So we are kind of the customer acquisition channel for those partners to do that. So that's number 1. We today have close to about 150 partners with us, which including, some of the large companies such as the Crown Plaza Hotel, Emaar, and more. Then there are other kind of partners that we see. So for example, we have PR companies who are actually looking to, do a lot of these kind of services and events for their clients, and they are not able to find. So they come up with, let's say, a bundle of services that they need. But of course, to create that kind of a bundle of services, they don't have a single source. So they're a good sort of partner for us. Moving companies, when people, we are in a country where there's a lot of movement happening, a lot of new people come and go. So those moving companies, to help their clients get settled in, families sitting in, this is kind of a very interesting and an important platform which can actually help families when they move in to kind of get settled and to find the right resources for themselves and for their children. So we are the ones. And even if you look at, because we are in UAE and there's a huge tourism kind of inflow happens, on a regular basis throughout the year. So even the partners which are related to tourism are our potential partners, such as hotels, for example, or even travel agencies.
Fantastic. I like that. So not just, so partners are obviously those channels, but you also have individual instructors, I think, right? So these individual instructors, yeah. So if you're on your marketplace, I mean, what's the percentage of kind of instructors one-to-one versus partners? What's your breakdown in general?
So, I mean, I would say probably as of today, we have like about 75% of the companies and the rest are individuals.
Oh, wow. Okay. So because, I get it. Yeah, because then the partners play such a heavier weight than the individual instructors. Could you imagine that there would be more instructors building up with time as well, like individual instructors? Because I mean, do you see that happening, or do you see it kind of staying in that same ratio?
No, so we can see a buildup of individual instructors, especially with kind of the way the landscape's changing in terms of the newer kind of visas and licenses that people can get. So we recently have a company who's kind of now taken a license, and they're a group of instructors, formed the company to do that. So either individuals or let's say a few set of people getting together can do that. Yeah. So over a period of time, this can increase, because I think one important thing maybe to mention here is when we look at how we offer services, there are three different, I would say, modes of delivery. One is where a customer would go to a particular venue to consume a service. So for example, let's say cooking, you might go to a particular professional kitchen to do a cooking class. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then you might actually have a yoga instructor who might come home to do a yoga class for you at your own home. Yep. Okay. Then the third thing is the online, where we are kind of now bringing together experts from around the world, in their domain, and also kind of bringing some interesting options for people. So I think depending on which kind of, let's say,
so there's three delivery modes: virtual, come to your house, come to us, basically.
Correct.
Okay, got it. I think one of the things that's coming to my mind as well as part of our program as we develop our growth hack. So I'm going to throw a few challenges at you just for thought. One of them is that I think we should be using Instagram very wisely to identify and recruit new types of instructors. So if you're looking at kind of Yoga Dubai, you can find just a ton of individual instructors who are probably very keen. And through the level of engagement in Instagram, you could probably identify somebody who's obviously got more traction versus less traction. And so obviously you can make a strategic decision on that side. But also you have a lot of these people who have these what they call supper clubs, right? So people who will cook dinner for you, and everybody would come to their house, and it's all individuals. And so they kind of use it as a networking thing. And I think that could present a new business opportunity for some of those guys, where not also can they host, but they can also teach. So on days that they don't host, they can teach. And you can kind of become that platform. Maybe even supper clubs could be a hobby. I mean, I don't know if you consider eating a hobby. I wouldn't mind.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Learning how to cook is a different thing. But I think tapping into, TikTok, Instagram, and some of the, emerging kind of social media technologies to identify talent that would both do this virtually, invite in, and both go out as you put them into the three modes. I think these would be excellent acquisition and identification channels. Especially in the third growth hack. Remember, we were talking about opening the categories, new categories. And so beauticians, as we were talking about, and other kind of categories, I think that will be an excellent recruitment ground, especially with those who have traction. There could be a very interesting synergy between you and them in creating more visibility. So, and by the way, so a lot of these, as you know, a lot of these instructors do struggle with monetization. Some of these influencers as well, who may not be known for being an instructor, but may be really good at a certain sector. Again, beauticians and fashion and all that. But these are just very known categories. There'll be others are looking to monetize, and you could present a potential new monetization channel by managing all that stuff that they don't want to get into. Right. And that would give you a very clear cut way of identifying, because just for the background for the audience here, I know why that 75% of your database are partners, because they're identifiable. The instructors are not easily identifiable, and not so easy to reach, and not so easy to onboard, and hence they're only 25%. Ultimately, you want to be recruiting, obviously, on both sides. It may become 50-50. You never know which direction. Of course, growth hacking is about testing these things out and figuring out which one will grow. But ultimately, we want to find ways to make those instructors more identifiable and quantifiable as well. And Instagram and social media is a wonderful way of doing that. And helping influencers who want to monetize could be a very unique area that we should probably explore. I'll leave that with you, but you can figure out where to map that out in the three that we're doing. I think it's a great thing that we're covering partners, which is 75, customers, which is 25%, and then the new categories, which obviously tackle both of them. So I think we have a very good portfolio of growth hacks that will give us a nice mix in this challenge. You ready to go?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
All right, guys. So that is Ankur with PursueIT. For more information, click below. This is going to be a really interesting one for those who want to obviously fill up more time for themselves or their children or friends, or do something with family, friends, or even team building. An excellent source to do that. We're going to be growth hacking both customer acquisition and customer retention in 3 very interesting ways in the next 10 days. As we tune out, for those who want to do what we do here on the Growth 10-day growth hacking challenge, you can get the growth thinking methodology, which is what we use here to do the same what we're doing. Ankur, congratulations. I'll see you in 3 days when we do the first growth hack.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
See you.